Hi, Eric. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Yeah, so today reading book, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we
start
start
from me,
reading.
right?
Yeah,
Black chalkberry. The black chalkberry is a dark color, blueberry-sized fruit from a hardy bush, Aronia melanoclava, growing in North America and Europe. Its color tells you it is packed with polyphenol, sometimes called aronia. These berries are traditionally used in E- Eastern Europe for jams and juices, but they have become more popular worldwide for their healthful properties. Scientists at the universities of Warsaw in Poland examined endothelial progenitor cells in the blood of healthy young individuals and found that exposing them to chalkberry extract could, could protect the stem cells against stress. The exposures to chalkberry also improve the ability of the stem cells to, to migrate and participate in generating blood vessels.
yeah. The fourth line, the fourth word. Yeah, this word is Eastern, and you pronounce Eastern.
Okay, Eastern.
Rice brand. Rice grains come from the field covered with a hard, edible, vitamin-packed layer called a bran. The bran is often removed and discarded during the refining to convert brown rice into white rice. But it actually contains many health-promoting bioactives, including beta-glucan and the polyphenols, ferulic acids. Rice bran is also a good source of dietary fiber.
Researchers from the University of Seville and the University of Lleida in Spain, the University of Saarland in Germany, and the Universities of Leipzig in Germany show that the ferulic acid from rice bran can protect and improve the activities and survival of endothelial progenitor cells. They gave 5 healthy human volunteers ferulic acid extracted from rice bran to consume for 15 days. The researchers took blood samples from the volunteers before and after the study, isolated their stem cells and grew them in plastic dishes. They then exposed the stem cell to hydrogen peroxide, which creates cell-damaging oxidative stress.
For stem cells taken before the exposure to rice bran extract, the hydrogen the hydrogen peroxide causes the stem cells to die through a process called apoptosis, a form of cell suicide at a rate 4.7 times their normal rate. However, the stem cells taken after brain exposure were completely protected against this biochemical stress and survive normally.
Eating a diet high in saturated fat damage. Eating a diet high in saturated fat damages the lining of blood vessels and leads to the formation of the vessel narrowing plaques, causing cardiovascular disease. In the lab, scientists show that adding rice bran to the diet of mice eating a high-fat diet reduced the incidence of atherosclerosis by protecting the blood vessel lining from damage, a job of stem cell. The formations of The atherosclerotic plaque was reduced by 2.6-fold. Taken together, these studies suggest that rice bran can protect the stem cell involved in repairing the damage in blood vessels caused by eating a high-fat diet.
One important caution about brown rice: some fields where it is harvested have high levels of arsenic. Brown rice has more of the exposed shell of the rice, so it can contain 80% more arsenic than white rice. According to a study by Consumer Reports, the safest sources of brown rice are California, India, and Pakistan, which has about a third less arsenic than brown rice from other sources.
Turmeric. Turmeric is a root in the ginger family, commonly used in Southeast Asian cuisines. It can be eaten fresh, but more commonly is dried and ground into a bright orange powder used as a spice. And as a traditional medicine, the main bioactive in turmeric is curcumin, which has anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, anti-angiogenic, and pro-regenerative properties. A study conducted by Suzhou University in China examines mice with diabetes whose leg had poor circulation. As known to occur in diabetes, the mice had a significantly reduced number, only half, of endothelial progenitor cells in their circulation compared to mice without diabetes. The diabetic mice were given curcumin dissolved in olive oil by mouth for 2 weeks. After receiving curcumin, the endothelial progenitor cells in the diabetic mice increased twofold, or back to normal levels since in non-diabetic mice. Blood flow in the leg also improved dramatically by as much as eightfold after curcumin was consumed. Considering this is spice that also adds flavor to many dishes, people with diabetes may wish to incorporate turmeric into their diet.
Foods and beverages high in resveratrol. Resveratrol is a bioactive well known to be in grapes, red wines, and grape juice. But resveratrol is also present in blueberries, cranberries, peanuts, and even pistachios, pistachios as well. In nature, resveratrol acts as a natural fungicide to fight fungi that could destroy the plant. So this is a bioactive that is first and foremost part of a plant's health defense system.
When humans consume resveratrol, different types of human cells are stimulated and the bioactive influences their behavior. For example, resveratrol activates cardiac stem cells that usually lie dormant in your heart but are capable of regenerating heart tissues under stress. Scientists at Suzhou University's the Third People's Hospital in Kunshan and Nanjing Medical Universities in China studies the effect of resveratrol on stem cells in the heart of mice. They gave resveratrol each day to normal, healthy mice for a week and found that even in the absence of disease, it caused the number of cardiac stem cells to increase in the heart tissue by 1.7-fold.
In mice that had suffered a heart attack, the researchers injected 1 million cardiac stem cells therapeutically to see if they could rescue the heart. Animals given resveratrol in addition to the injection had an increased number of blood vessels in the heart and almost a doubling of survival of cardiac stem cells.
The practical challenge with resveratrol is that its presence only in small amounts in red wine and most foods, so it would require a huge intake of wine to match the amounts used in most research studies. Because of this, resveratrol may be one of the few exceptions where the bioactives may be better obtained through a concentrated supplement rather than the actual food.
Foods high in zeaxanthin. Zeaxanthin is a bioactive known as a carotenoid. It is a pigment that gives corn and saffron their yellow-orange color, but is also common in leafy green vegetables like kale, mustard greens, spinach, watercress, collard greens, Swiss chard, the fiddlehead. Zeaxanthin is also found in high concentration in goji berries. The dried flat elliptical red berries used in Asian herbal teas, soups, and stir-fried dishes. This bioactive is very important for eye health. After foods containing zeaxanthin are eaten, it accumulates in the retina, the layer in the back of the eye where light is sensed and relayed to the brain. Clinical studies have shown that consuming zeaxanthin can help to protect the eye against the blinding condition age-related macular degeneration.
Scientists from Jinan universities in Guangzhou, China, and Shenzhen Third People's Hospital have examined the impact of zeaxanthin on stem cells. They obtain stem cells from human fat using liposuction and expose them to zeaxanthin. Those stem cells survive better and show less evidence of inflammation than stem cells that did not have any exposure to zeaxanthin.
Yeah, third line, the fifth words from behind. Yeah, this is liposuction, and you pronounce as the yeah, I forgot how you pronounce.
Uh,
Yeah, how do you?
liposuction.
Oh, okay. The scientists then tested whether zeaxanthin could help stem cells rescue an organ damaged by disease. They injected mice with failing livers with 2 million mesenchymal stem cells obtained from human fat tissues so the stem cells could regenerate their livers. Some of the mice received stem cells that had first been exposed to zeaxanthin, and the rest received untreated stem cells. After 7 days, the planned stem cells therapy had decreased the liver damage by roughly half. However, in mice who received stem cells that had been treated with zeaxanthin, the stem cells reduced liver damage by an impressive 75% in the same period of time.
The results of this study suggest that eating zeaxanthin containing foods may help the performance of our stem cells for organ regeneration. Foods high in Chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is another powerful bioactive found in high concentration in coffee and also present in black tea, blueberries, peaches, fresh and dried plums, eggplants, and even bamboo shoots. It has anti-inflammatory and anti-angiogenic and blood pressure lowering effects. Stem cell protections can now be added to its benefits. Researchers at Nanchang universities in China studies how chlorogenic acid can influence the survival of mesenchymal stem cells that are involved with organs healing and regeneration. They found that when stem cells were exposed to chlorogenic acid, they became more resilient against stress, and this doubled their rate of survival, which extended their ability to participate in maintaining organ health in the body.
Black raspberries. Their dark color and tartness reveal that black raspberry contain many potent bioactives like allergic acid, elagitanin, and anthocyanins, and quercetin. In fact, a dietary supplement made from black raspberries has shown clinical benefits in patients with colon cancer and in pre-diabetes. The allergic acid of the black raspberry activates stem cells. Researchers working at the Korea University Annam Hospital in Seoul studied the effect of the berries in 51 patients who had metabolic syndrome. This is a cluster of dangerous health conditions such as obesity, elevated blood sugar, hypertension, high triglyceride, and low HDL, good cholesterol, that puts anyone with them at high risk for developing cardiovascular disease. Their blood was drawn at the beginning of the study, and the number of circulating stem cells was measured. The patients were then given black raspberry powder or a placebo to consume daily for 12 weeks.
Here's what they found. Individuals eating the black raspberry powder had a 30% increase in their circulating endothelial progenitor cells, while those taking a placebo actually had a 35% decrease in their stem cell level due to their metabolic syndromes. When the researchers measured the blood vessel stiffness of people who consumed black raspberry powder, they found there was a reduction in the stiffness over the 12 weeks, reflecting healthier blood vessels and the beneficial effects of more circulating stem cells.
Chinese celery. Chinese celery is a common vegetable in Asia with thinner stalks and a stronger flavor than Western celery. You might have eaten it as part of a stir fry because it is commonly used in dishes on the menu of authentic Chinese restaurants. The leaves, stalks, and seeds of Chinese celery are all edible and contain a number of health-promoting bioactives, including a tongue twister, n-butylphenidate, NBP. NBP is important because it was approved as a pharmaceutical drug in 2002 by regulatory agencies in China for doctors to use as a neuroprotective treatment in patients who have suffered a stroke. NBP also found in supplements containing celery seed extract improves brain circulation, lower brain inflammation, grows nerves, and limits brain damage from stroke.
Researchers from Suzhou University, China, studied how NBP helps patients recover from stroke. Recruited 170 individuals who had suffered an acute ischemic stroke, meaning a blood clot caused an interruption of blood flow and kill part of the brain. In the trial, some patients took oral NBP and some received only standard care. The researchers drew blood 7, 14, and 30 days after treatments. In all patients, the number of stem cells in the bloodstream increased immediately after the stroke, which is the expected response from the regenerative health defense systems. And patients who receive only standard care, the stem cell level declined after day 7. In contrast, in patients who receive NBP, their circulating stem cells steadily increased. By day 30, NBP-treated patients had circulating stem cell levels 75% higher than the patients who received only standard care. Brain CT scans show that those who took NBP also had improved blood flow in the area of the stroke, which is explained by the greater stem cell forming to the injured site in the brain.
While these results are from a drug form of NBP, it shows that a bioactive present in Chinese celery has stem cell activating properties that may help heal and regenerate organs after a medical catastrophe like a stroke. Mangoes. Mangoes are a stone fruit with an intensely sweet orange color, edible flesh that is eaten raw, cooked, dried, or pickled. They can also be cooked with other ingredients and are commonly found in the cuisine of Southeast Asia and Latin America. Although they have many bioactives, carotenoids, that give the flesh its orange color, mangoes contain a unique bioactive called mangiferin that has anti-tumor, anti-diabetic, and pro-regenerative properties. In lab animals, mangiferin has been shown to improve blood sugar control by actually regenerating the beta islet cells of the pancreas that produce insulin.
Scientists from the Sichuan Academy of Medical Science, the Sichuan Provincial People's Hospital, Sichuan University, and the People's Hospital in Lishan in southwestern China found that mangiferins could increase insulin secretion, secretion in mice by increasing the number of beta islet cells in the pancreas by 67% and by activating genes for regeneration and insulin production. Other scientists have shown mangiferins can stimulate bone regeneration. These experimental studies injected mangiferins so the doses cannot be directly translated to mango consumption, but the results demonstrate the remarkable activities in the bioactive.
Stem cell stimulating beverages. Red wine. Moderate consumption of red wine is beneficial for health. Researchers from the Taipei Veterans General Hospital in Taiwan studied the stem cells of 80 healthy people in their mid-30s who were given either red wine half glass, 35 beer, 1 can, vodka, 1 shot, or water each day for 3 weeks. They were not allowed to drink tea, grape juice, or any other alcoholic beverages other than what was specified during the study period. All individuals had similar blood pressure, stem cells levels, and other physical parameters at the beginning of the study.
After 3 weeks, the blood work showed that red wine drinkers had a twofold increase in the levels of endothelial progenitor cells in circulation. The same benefits were not seen with the subjects who drank beer, vodka, or water. When these stem cells were exposed to red wine or resveratrol, they had an even greater ability to migrate from blood vessel tubes and survive. Moreover, the red wine drinkers had a 35% improvement of their blood vessels' ability to dilate, a reflection of vascular health. Red wine drinkers also had a 50% increase in blood level of a powerful signal called nitric oxide, one of the body's most fundamental signals that control health. Nitric oxide. Nitric oxide not only helps blood vessels dilate, but it stimulates angiogenesis for healing, and it signals for stem cells to be activated.
Yeah, the fourth line from bottom. Uh, the third line from the bottom. The 7 words from behind. Yeah, this is nitric. Yeah, you pronounce as nitric.
Okay, nitric.
When it comes to red wine, more isn't better. Researchers have reported that the benefits are seen with up to 1 to 2 glasses of wine a day, but with more wine, there is less benefit. It's important to know that high level of alcohol actually damage stem cells and interfere with their ability to regenerate organs. So, as with most things in the diet, moderation is key.
Researchers from the Instituto di Farmacologia Macular in Italy analyzed 13 clinical studies of red wine and its effect on cardiovascular disease. The combined studies involved 209,418 people. That the analysis concluded that red wine intake was associated with an overall 32% reduced risk of atherosclerosis.
Yeah, this is where I read
Mm,
until.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, share anything uh you have learned or make you interest.
Yeah. I think firstly, it talk about some berries, right? And I don't care it is like whether it's like chokeberry, raspberry, and blueberries also mentioned. And yeah, they are healthy, of course, but for this thing, actually, I I think it's like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was in the shopping mall in the supermarket, and I found that the price of berries in Malaysia, at least, I am not sure whether in other countries, is actually quite expensive. And a package of blueberries can cost like up to 20 ringgit. Yeah, and you know the blueberries is very small for
mm,
for one piece, and then even though it is like a bunch or a box of blueberries, but it's still not a lot. But the cost is really high.
mm.
If you compare the size of apple, maybe I think two apple size of blueberries cost 20 ringgit. Hmm. Yeah, and yeah,
No,
the apple
what?
here is
Yeah,
uh
just now you say, sorry, just now you say two apple will cost around
no
t t
uh yeah, it's the size. I mean two small apple size of blueberries. Yeah, I want to
oh
mention the amount. Yeah, you imagine two
oh yeah
apples.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
and not
so
many,
this is
but
a
cost a lot.
mm, yeah, you go ahead.
Yep. So I think berries, yeah, is something good, but I think I won't buy it purposely for the for health purpose. Yeah, because it is too expensive. Yep. And then after that, I want to talk about one important thing because uh, in also in a few previous conversation we talk about brown rice, and I also tell you that brown rice is consumed by me almost every day. Yeah, and at that time I think it is almost healthy. Yeah, without any unhealthy thing. But today we came across one part which is talking about the brown rice and then arsenic. Yeah, yeah. For this one, this is something like a poison. Yeah, arsenic is something poisonous, something bad for human, even though it is something quite natural and can be found in the soil. Yep. But consuming it into our body is a good, and it also says that uh, normally our food source will have arsenic, but not to the amount that we will consume. Yeah. But for brown rice, it is something like 10 to 20 times more arsenic uh, than other food, yeah, than other vegetables. So I think because I consume it every day, so I should take it uh, as something that I want to consume. And actually, for this one, I tried to did some research and found that yes, actually, uh, this is not something unsure. This is proven. Brown rice has arsenic, and then which is uh, quite a big amount if we compare to other food sources. And but good news is we can do something to reduce the arsenic of the brown rice. Yeah, the approach is actually how we cook it. Yeah, for this, yeah, I would like to share how to reduce the arsenic if you consume brown rice. Yeah, and you may try to do that. Firstly, you can soak your brown rice. Yeah, overnight. Yeah, means that if you want to cook your brown rice tomorrow morning, maybe last night, yeah, the previous night, you can soak your brown rice, yeah, in the water, and after the next day, you wash your brown rice again, yeah, and then by doing so, you can remove some of the arsenic, and after that, use 5-to-1 ratio. I mean, 5 is water, 1 is the brown rice ratio to cook the brown rice. Yeah, and after that, don't allow the water to boil to dry. I mean, after the rice is cooked and it will have water left, right? It haven't boiled and then dry yet so fast. So at that time, you have to uh, you have to uh, remove the water from the rice. The rice is already cooked, but there are some excessive water in it because you use 5-to-1 ratio. And not only remove the water, you need to put in hot water, yeah, to the rice so that to ensure you remove the water, yeah, the previous cooked water, yeah, so that again you remove the water. Yeah, by doing so, actually, you can make a big difference, which is if we consider before uh, before we cook the brown rice, we have 100% arsenic in the brown rice. And by doing so, just now the true approach, soak and then 5-to-1 ratio, and you can reduce the arsenic from 100% to 18%. Yeah, so I think if you don't have time, maybe at least you use the first approach, yeah, to remove some of the arsenic, to soak it, and you don't have to do anything, just put there, and tomorrow when you want to cook, take it out and then wash it again, cook your brown rice. Yep, so this is for the arsenic part.
Mm, yeah, and yeah, one thing I want to add in is mm, I actually not only see the soaking methods
Mm,
used in remove some chemical or some bad things
mm,
uh, from the plant foods, and not on okay not only brown rice, and I also saw some information that some people cook the white rice. They also will do this kind of method. They also will use this method. They
yeah,
soak the white rice for at least like 3 hours. Yeah, and this is better for overnight. And then they and then they and then they pour out all the waters, and
mm,
then they use a new water
mm,
to uh to cook the rice. Yeah, after they rinse the 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 soaked white rice. Yeah,
mm.
and it only used in legumes. And when they soak, and then the legume will become bigger, which is the bean. The bean will become uh bigger, and then some of the anti-nutrients will also be removed. One of the anti-nutrients in the legumes family can be found is the phytic phytic acid. Yeah, phytic
Okay.
acid. And in Chinese, this is called uh, in Chinese, I think it's called 植酸, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it bad, right, for our health?
yeah, it's a bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, so soaking is not the uncommon method um
Mm,
uh to deal with the plant food to remove something that's bad for our body.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, and for this, you know why? Luckily, because in my house, in my home, we actually have been eating brown rice for I think more than 10 years. Now, even though uh, at the beginning we don't eat so much, maybe like we only put 20% of brown rice and then mix with 80% of normal rice. Yeah. And but every time when my mother wanted to cook the rice, he will soak the brown rice, yeah, especially the brown rice overnight. Yeah, soak overnight. And I asked her why did she know this approach, and actually she didn't know. She just think that the brown rice is harder, so she want to make it softer.
Mm,
And by soaking overnight, uh, and then it is like easier to cook it to a softer texture.
mm,
Yep. So yeah, I feel like this is quite lucky.
yeah. My mother
Yep.
also
And
do the same
oh,
when she cook the brown rice.
mm, yep. Oh, you also eat brown rice?
No, yeah, but sometimes they will include some of the brown rice. Yeah,
Mm.
but not very often.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And yeah, I believe that in the reading session, it didn't mention why brown rice has got more arsenic, right? And in my research, it is because brown rice has got the the bran. Yeah, the bran is the shell of the rice, and
Yeah,
then so it is at the outer layer. And because
yeah,
rice is the plants that grow in the water,
yeah.
so
If I'm
mm,
not wrong, it is called husk, husk.
oh, you mean the layer, the
Yeah,
out,
the shell.
yeah, yep. And then because of that, and these crops is grow in the water, and uh, so that the amount of arsenic is more than other vegetables. Yep. Yeah, and then after that, let me see.
Yeah.
Um, mm,
One thing I want to add in is
yeah,
um, about the GI index. Do you know what GI index?
GI index.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. GI index is something related to your blood glucose level. So if you
Okay.
some of the foods after you consume, and then it will
Mm,
boost your GI index very high,
mm.
and then so your body need to need to release the insulin to
Ah,
bring your blood glucose down. Yeah,
yeah.
so you will
It is
have
a
a
bit
spike.
like the sugar, right?
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
blood glucose is sugar. Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, and then so it will create like the blood sugar, a blood glucose or the insulin spike. Yeah, and
Mm.
then it is something like you in Chinese we call the like the 过山车. So this means there's a big fluctuation in your insulin
Oh,
level as well
yeah.
as the blood glucose level, and then it will make you tired.
Mm.
And many uh many research actually show that white rice uh has lesser, if I'm not wrong, because I didn't I didn't check carefully. I just like watched some YouTube, and then uh I heard what they say. Some
Mm.
doctors say that white rice is actually better than the brown rice.
Oh,
Mm,
in this aspect.
yeah, yeah, in this aspect. So the for the GI ratio, for the GI index, the white rice is actually better than the brown rice or
Mm.
other like the wheat, for example,
Mm.
like the cereal, yeah,
Yeah.
cereal or some bread or some noodles, yeah, they make from the flour.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah. 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 This is kind of like counterintuitive for me because I thought brown rice is better in terms of the glucose or glucan aspect.
mm,
Yep. Yeah, and then after that, one one food I am quite interested, which is the Chinese celery. Yeah, for this one, I think it is quite common in my diet. Yeah, and I also think this is not expensive. It can we can get this easily in the market. And yeah, so I think this is a good thing. And I will tell my mom to use more this Chinese celery, yeah, in the food. Yep. And then after that, I think is the last one. The last one I want to talk is the Goji berries. Yeah, I don't know whether you remember this term. Um, yeah, firstly, I found that it is good for eye, and then I tried to search what is Goji berries. Yeah, and found that it is actually one very common things, at least in Chinese culture or Malaysia's. In Chinese, we call this 枸杞. Yeah, so it is the goji berries. Yep. And for that thing, from the TCM aspect, they say it is good for eye. And then for here it is more about uh, the Western medicine aspect. And then yeah, it is also good for eye, and it can help our uh, stem cells to regenerate, and then it's good for our stem cells. Yep. Yeah. So I think this is what I want to talk about.
Yeah. And one thing I want to talk about is about the rice brands. Yeah. In this reading session, we came across the rice brands, and
Yeah.
I I'm I'm not sure whether I was mistaken, and I heard you say that you use a rice brand to do the compost. Is it in the past?
Um. Yeah. I don't know whether it is the rice brand, because when I buy that ingredient, it is already in the form of powder. But I believe that it is something similar to that, and it is also a byproduct of maybe rice or the wheat, or something.
Yeah. Uh, do you know what is it called? The thing you bought?
Um, I forgot already. I'm
Is it
sorry.
called mi kang?
Nikang, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, is it
Mm.
correct? So it's a rice brand.
Oh,
Mm,
mm,
yeah. And and because I remember you say that it's a very cheap, right?
yeah, yes.
And uh yeah, and then I try to search, but I didn't saw any people consume it. Yeah, eat it. Mm,
Yeah. It is for animals, I think, for the livestock, or maybe for chicken, for pig. Maybe they will mix the rice bran together with other food that they feed to the livestock.
mm, yeah, and then but here you mentioned that yeah, I'm not sure. Is this like a human can consume it?
Um, but it is uncooked, right? I'm not sure.
You can cook.
Yeah, we
Maybe
can
you can
cook.
include your porridge or include in your
Soup.
rice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make a soup.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, and actually, I don't know why I have a feeling like in this book it talks many things, and then many foods that have uh so amazing effect to our health, right? It seems like
mm,
it is um too real to be true, and some of the things that they mention, it seems like not only to prevent but also to heal, to cure some diseases, is it? Yeah, some
mm,
research they put into mice, and then say that with the consumption of some specific foods, and then they they survive from heart attack or what.
mm. Yeah, if you learn more about nutrition science, and you will found that you can actually found two side two side effect. I mean two side, which is positive versus negative,
Mm,
from the internet, from the studies, from the research, from the paper. You can
yeah.
find that, for example, the negative of the food, and then the positive of a food, of the same food. Yeah, and you can find that, for example, mm, uh, the positive impact to your body from eating maybe meat, maybe chicken, maybe the dark meat. Okay, but some study actually show that eating dark meat is no significant improvement
Mm,
to your health, or some may show that got negative impact on your health.
mm,
And because nutrition science is not a very good science, I would say like this. It's barely is a science. Why? Because you couldn't find a control group. Everyone need to eat, and you couldn't lock them into a room when you want to do experiments for the whole week, for the whole month, or for a whole year, or 5 years. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that, and then just feed them a specific food and see a result. And also, food is not just one thing that can affect us. There are many things. For example, exercise. For example, meditation. For example, sleep. For example, your stress level.
Yeah, placebo.
Yeah, placebo also will affect. So you couldn't really isolate the people that have a same same. Okay, what I want to say is same similar similar people. You couldn't find the people who are similar, who have a specific set of health factors, which means, for example, their exercise level are the same, their stress level are the same, whether they do meditation or not. How about their financial?
Their blood pressure. There's also something like that, right?
And also age. Could be age, and also environment, all of these things. And you couldn't do that. So and you just want to find as more people as possible, and then you give them the same food, and then you do a research, and then found that is it significant? Is there any correlation?
Right.
But if any other factors which had contribute, which are the real factor, for example, exercise or sleep, it will wipe out all the statistics, all the results you found from the study or from the research, because it can change the statistic very significant.
Yes.
And also sometimes you want to test some of the substance or some of the chemical in our body. For example, let's say a cholesterol level, HDL or LDL level. But do you know human actually produce more than 70% of cholesterol by ourselves, and only small amount, insignificant amount of the cholesterol is actually come from the food. And
I don't know.
And if you are full versus you are not full, or versus maybe after you did some exercise, or maybe in the morning or in the evening, your cholesterol level will change. What I want to say is change dramatically. Okay, in term of the lab figure. In terms of lab figure. But in our body, we couldn't feel that. For us, we couldn't feel that. And I wonder whether it's also same for the stem cell, also same for the maybe angiogenesis, maybe same for the white blood cell, red blood cell. I think yes.
And
sugar
level also.
When you are full, and then maybe your sugar level will higher. If you are you didn't consume any food for a few hours, your blood glucose level will decrease. So for all of these studies, they call observational study, which is they observe them. And also some of the study, and not some of the study, many of the study, they are not like find a bunch of people and then give them eat the foods and then study them for 6 months, 1 year. No, they didn't use this kind of method. What they use is they try to find the people who admit that they consume these foods. For example, turmeric. Maybe they try to find some group, some forums, some internet, or maybe they do the questionnaire. Yeah, before COVID-19, maybe they do the questionnaire in universities, maybe in some place, and then they ask people whether you eat turmeric or not. Yeah. So all of these things is a self-report. So if I ask you, do you think you eat a lot of tomato? How do you answer?
Yeah, seldom.
Yeah. And do you eat a lot? Do you eat a lot of rice?
Rice, yeah, a lot every day.
But how much is a lot? Some people eat 2 bowls of rice. You eat 1 bowl of rice. What is more? Yeah. And this is rice. We can use bowl, we can use cup, but are there do you know how many cup of rice in volume or in quantity? Do you know how to measure a bowl of rice? The bowl is not standard. But for them, there is a standard bowl, there is a standard volume or quantity referred to a cup, referred to maybe a tablespoon. But for you, for normal people, we don't know.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes they say how many cups of rice. Actually, they are referring to uncooked rice, right? When it is cooked and it becomes more.
Yeah, and also rice is a very is a food that very easy to measure, you know. How about the salt? How about the salt? How about the sugar? How do you measure? Do people really measure it?
They
5
don't
grams,
know.
10 grams? Yeah. Do you eat a lot of sugar? Like if I ask you this question, do you eat a lot of sugar? Do you eat a lot of salt?
Yeah. I don't know where I get the salt and sugar.
You cannot answer. Yeah, you cannot answer. And how about the tomato? Yeah. How about other vegetable? Yeah, tomato is also easier to measure. You got 1 piece, 2 piece. Although some of them is very big, some of them is very small. Yeah, and the variety is different. And we also see seen in this book, which is some tomato have like maybe 10 times more the nutrition than another variety, right?
Yeah.
And how about some other vegetable? For example, like spinach. For example, like the leafy green vegetable. How do you measure it? Gram? Do we use gram? Yeah. Do you measure it in gram? Yeah, scientists measure it in gram, but do normal people measure it in gram? No. And also, one thing is about your memory. You think you eat a lot, but you didn't. Yeah. And also, you eat a lot of other foods. Maybe they are counter they are counter against each other. For example, if you eat the prawn, or if you eat the lobster, that has a lot of I forget the mineral. It seems like it is a copper or some others. I forget the name of the mineral. But if you eat this, plus if you eat like the veggie called the puo cai. Okay, in English this is called spinach. Yeah, spinach is one type of spinach. And then you then you then you can't receive any couple any the specific mineral in your body, even though the prawn, even though the roaster has very high level of the mineral, but if you consume together with the spinach, yeah, you got zero of the mineral. So there's a lot of things will affect you. And if you want to talk about the exercise, you want to talk about sleep, you can do it. Optional observational study is still okay, because you can find people who sleep more than 10 hours. You can find people who sleep less than 10 hours, less than 8 hours, and then you can compare. Yeah. And how about meditation? You can do that. You can find people who didn't do meditation and people who did do meditation for many years, and you can find any correlation. And you can try to see. Yeah. But how about the food? All people eat food. Yeah.
And the amount is too hard to determine, and also not easy, right?
Yeah.
The varieties are so many.
Yeah. So
and then
this is you go ahead.
Just now we talk about human, right? In the research, in the studies, and they use a lot of research of mice, right? The white mice. And what I want to say is, even though we have a similar DNA code with the white mice, but mice is mice, not human.
Yeah.
And
right. Yeah. Right.
their lifespan is so different different to human, right? If I didn't get it wrong, they are much shorter life than human. And so that means they cannot conduct a research for 10 years, 5 years. They don't have the chance using mice.
Yeah, and they are not going to do that. Yeah, because a scientist is also a job, is also a career. If you spend too much time on one studies, and then it spend you 10 years, 20 years, and then you found nothing, there's no any correlation. Yeah. It's not funny to them.
Yes. Since you talk about this also, that day when I was listening to the radio, then there is one case, and a kids have a specific mental illness, and they found that this mental illness is really, really rare. So they are kind of like raising the fund, ask people to donate so that they can hire the scientists to conduct some research and find a cure for that particular disease. So if you really want the scientists to do some research or experiment, you really need something which is like a very profitable returns, or what, so that they would do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so do you have anything to add in?
Nothing. No more.
So I also have nothing to add in.
So see you tomorrow.
Okay, talk to you tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Bye.